once I could take all of that information about my heart rate, about my EEG and sleep stages, about my stomach activity and blood glucose, some other hormones back to the lab, I could see directly that when I didn't sleep enough, it just looked like chaos. And when I slept really well, all of these different biometrics just nicely oscillated together across sleep stages, and they looked very orderly. I think most people, when you talk to them, are not trying to pretend like they have perfect habits. And there's that old cliche about, you study the thing that you have the most trouble with. And so I think that was definitely a part of me going into sleep and biological rhythms. I thought they were very beautiful and elegant from like a technical standpoint, very interesting as scientific questions. But they're also like what underlies your lived experience every single day. And sleep was one that maybe I'm just like overly sensitive here, but I really don't do well when I don't sleep enough. And so I think I'll probably always struggle to have healthier habits than I could, or than maybe I could get away with if I were someone who was more robust against sleep loss. But
yeah, I can relate to all of that. And I actually did genetic testing through 23andMe and did like all the like DNA breakdown and everything to really understand what is my genetic code.
Cool.
And without going into too many of the details, of which I did extensively with somebody named Dr. Ben Lynch, where we actually broke down all the pathways and genetics and everything. The short version is that you can go into this a lot more because you're the scientist and the doctor and I'm not. But the short version is that I just was not detoxifying and recovering during the night the way that most other people do. I'm very inefficient with my sleep. So most people can get 6, 7, even 8 hours and they wake up and they feel great. I get 6 or 7 hours and I'm completely useless. And I found out that that was genetically because the way that I'm wired. And it sounds like you're in a similar position where you just need more sleep than other people might need.
It really helps to see it. It's neat that it sounds like you in some way felt better or more accepting of this after you got your 23andMe results back. I kind of had a similar experience where at one point in undergraduate, I was lucky enough to have a PI that didn't mind if I like bought extra assays and spit in a tube and kind of like made a little bit of a sleep lab in the psych building. And I would go there every once in a while and I would try to do a sleep experiment where I would put on all of the wearables and in-lab devices we had. I would get a really good night of sleep. And then the next day I would wake myself up either every couple of hours throughout the night or at 4 a.m. And then once I could take all of that information about my heart rate, about my EEG and sleep stages, about my stomach activity and blood glucose, some other hormones back to the lab, I could see directly that when I didn't sleep enough, it just looked like chaos. And when I slept really well, all of these different biometrics just nicely oscillated together across sleep stages, and they looked very orderly. And that I found it very convincing to say, okay, like I know that it's not just me hurting some subjective sense of self that I have. I see in front of me these numbers that like that individual looks like they're hurting, and I don't want to do that.